how do you deal with that whole question about guilt and self-stigma as well? Because yes, you might go through, you know, the whole process of counseling and all those things, and it's one thing to go through counseling, and then when you come out, you find a totally different world. And sometimes you can even forget everything that you learned, you know, in there. So it's because it's difficult. You know, you come into the real world. You hope for like proper reception, but then sometimes you end up getting totally opposite, and you're like, so what do I do? Maybe I deserve, you know, this kind of life. And that is what we're saying. You know, people might actually find themselves in a place of reoffending. So do you have like instances of, you know, guilt and self-stigma and, you know, all those things, and especially when you came out and faced the real world?
Yes, at a point I went to the place that we were about to rob.
Okay.
And asked myself, what was I doing? And the guilt was so much on me, because I made a mistake. Seeing my friends who I left behind, who I schooled with, they are now working, have families. So that thing was really putting me down. But I want to thank one person by the name Bishop Joseph Kariuki of Destiny Community Church. He really prayed for me.
Okay.
Yeah, because he's somebody who has been coming to prison, seeing me. And when I came out, usually every Sunday, he will tell me, come to church, pray for me, come to church, pray for me, come to church, pray for me, until it reached a point that the guilty started
slowly faded. Yeah.
Yes, together with crimes people were keeping me busy on the other end. I couldn't focus so much on the guilt. I started focusing on my life.
Okay.
And through that, Zawadi came along, and I thank God for that.
How old is she now?
She's 2 years, 4 months.
Oh man,
Yeah.
she's still so young. All right, what are the reasons to keep you going?
And I thank the mother also so much
Yes.
for being with me. So much. Yes.
And support is very important, like you're saying.
Yes.
You know, because if you imagine coming out and then your family does not support you, they have not accepted you, and then you know, your peers are not there anymore. Like you said, majority of them, you know, actually died.
Yes.
And you're alone. You're like, so then where do I start at all, and all those things. But there's some people who unfortunately do not have that. They do not have that kind of support, do not have anywhere to go to or who to turn to, right? What would you tell, you know, such a person? Hopefully they're watching, or even their family and all these things, because you got support from your family from
Yes.
the word go.
What I can tell the family is that people can change, irrespective of what they did. There's always such a second chance. If God can give us a second chance, we are as human beings. Who are we not to
give second chances?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And for this person who's suffering, just focus on your life, and everything will work out for you. And what I usually tell people when I do mentorship, always focus on God also, because without God, will not go anywhere.
Yeah.
So what I can tell them, that maybe there's someone who's suffering, maybe can contact me, come to our offices, maybe I'll walk with him that journey and help him, because we have so many partners.
Yeah.
Maybe I can help him in one way or another.
One way or the other.
Yes.
Okay. Like you said, at some point you visited the place where you were.
Yeah,
you were
so
about
many
to.
times. So many times I got
All
there.
right. But before that, did you ever, I don't know, like met someone that you offended or anything? Like, have you ever met any of those people to just say
No,
sorry?
because
Okay.
as I said earlier, I was cheeky.
Okay.
I couldn't do those things or rob wherever I used to stay. I used to go far.
I
So
see.
that's why many people didn't know that I used to
This
do
is
these
what
things.
was happening, yeah.
So I never met anyone.
Okay,
Yes.
any of those people.
Yes.
Okay, all right. I hear you. But Sylvia, we also talked about how important, again, you know, reintegration starts. It needs to start early, even before this person is released. But what about then the community? Because you might actually talk to the family, you know, patch things up so that by the time this person leaves the prison, there is some, you know, level of peace and, you know, cordial and all those things, and they can accept, you know, their kin. But the larger society, in terms of just embracing these people back, because again, you know, like Eric said, second chances, right? We all deserve a second chance. So for the larger community, where do we begin? And this is in terms of embracing, because maybe there's some who lost their family, lost their property, lost things that they held dear, you know, in this process, and this is as far as crime is concerned. So accepting these people, forgiving these people, and just embracing them back.
Okay.
Again, where do we start from? Because you can't cancel everyone. Call the community and say, let's sit down and let's talk about this.
Very true. As we start that journey with the inmates, as I mentioned, that's as the journey starts when we're getting back to their community and trying to see where they're going back into. That's a point again to start the journey, to prepare the community to receive this person once they're back. That we're like, Eric is coming out in the next month. Eric, the parents live here, we're talking to the parents, but getting, and this is something not just Crime Power does, but under the Kenya Prison Service, there is the probation and aftercare department that also goes back, as he mentioned, that we have that officer who would go back to the community and talk to the people and let them know that, okay, your son is coming back, your neighbor is coming back, are you ready to receive them? And that happens a lot. And other than that as well, in the interventions that we do, because we don't only, as we mentioned, it's not just working with the inmates, but as we work in the community, in the interventions that we do in the schools, in the interventions that we do in the community, as we're talking about crime awareness and helping them to just have that ownership around safety and justice issues, is also that time to have that conversation, to let them know that, yes, at this point we're dealing with this crime, but you realize that there are maybe some of your sons, some of your daughters that have already gone down that path, and they're behind, but at that point they will come back. How do you embrace them once they have changed to come back and they'd want to be those pioneers that you work with? Because as they come back and you realize, for those who come out and they have reformed, truly reformed, and realized they are wrong and atoning for it, they come out as champions. They want to come out and show the next person the ropes that I walked that path, you don't need to walk that path as well. So just helping the community to understand. And at Crime Power, we work with returning citizens. We don't just work with them in prison and once you come out, we're done with you. But how do we work with you to also, as we go into community awareness sessions and we're talking about legal matters, as we're talking about crime issues, to have them come into the community and let them know, yes, these crime issues that we're talking about, I have been down that road, and these are the pitfalls. First of all, these are the things that you can notice in your children, and once they come there, this is how you can support them once they come back, so that you can work with them to create a safer environment that you can all be proud of. Absolutely. So it's a collaborative effort that takes some bit of time. Takes time. It doesn't happen overnight.